Hey, it's Spring Football. Doug Lemery, Stephen Means, Nathan Baird. We're talking defense in this video. We did another video about offense. Who surprised us defensively on the first day of spring practice on Monday? The guy that jumped out and made us think, what's up with that? Stephen Means, what'd you think on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, Sevyn Banks was getting interceptions. Last year, a lot of the thing was Josh Proctor led the team in interceptions in spring and fall camp. Well, right now, that's Sevyn Banks. He's got 2 interceptions. Marcus Hooker has 1. But Jeffrey Okudah said it. He's the next great corner at Ohio State. And after day 1, he flashed and he got interceptions and he was making plays all over the field. And with Shaun Wade being limited, for whatever the reason is, Sevyn Banks has a chance to solidify himself, whether it's going to be outside or in the slot. We don't know that yet, but he is solidifying himself as one of the 3 best corners on his team.
Well, every snap he took on Monday was on the outside. So, they have to figure out the slot corner thing. At the moment, Sevyn Banks isn't playing any slot corner. We have to see how that works itself out. But he did look the part. Nathan, who's your guy?
I'm liking more and more what I see out of Marcus Hooker. And I know right now it's because Josh Proctor is sidelined. He wasn't actually even limited. He was out, and we don't know exactly how long that's going to last. They've been very, non-specific about injuries, as they usually are. But so that's why Hooker is running with the ones. But you're starting to just see more stability from him. You're starting to see a guy who I think if they had to, maybe not for a long stretch, they obviously don't want to go without Josh Proctor this season because I think he is clearly the guy there. But he's someone who could capably step up and be that guy for you in short stretches if they need him. It at least gives them some stability at that single high safety spot that they wouldn't have if he was not there.
A lot of these injuries, there's multiple guys on both sides of the ball that weren't there on Monday on the first day. Nothing Ryan Day said is anything that's going to threaten anybody for the season. I think there's maybe a guy or two who may not do much in spring. But all this is little stuff. Again, especially defensively, it was hard to work some stuff out because Josh Proctor wasn't out there. Shaun Wade wasn't out there most of the time. Cam Brown at corner wasn't out there. Baron Browning at linebacker wasn't out there. So it was sort of hard to get a read on the totality of what are the battles at some of the things. In a practice like this, the defensive line, you can't really do anything on the defensive line. You're not hitting anybody, so it's hard for a defensive lineman to flash. So it's basically back 7 that we're talking about to try to analyze it all. I think Pete Werner may end up being the most down-to-down, snap-to-snap, impactful member of the defense. Pete Werner looked like he's kind of like an inside linebacker, which would mean I'm not a Bullet, I'm not a Sam linebacker. I'm more like a Mike or a Will. If it looked like from today, Tuff Borland and Taraja Mitchell continue to be that middle linebacker, that Mike linebacker, and we were wondering, we had been thinking, will Baron Browning move to that Malik Harrison spot where you're kind of free to run, you can make a lot of plays in the open field. Baron Browning was hurt. Pete Werner seemed to be there today. And if they decide that we're going to let Pete Werner, who's a 2-year starter, in year 3 as a starter, just run and chase the ball, that guy is going to be in on a ton of plays. He's very familiar to some degree, and I think I've been part of this. For a lot of years, you've sort of been waiting for someone to steal his job or something, and all he does is play constantly. The coaches love him, and he's pretty good. And he might be even more important this season based on what we saw on day 1. That Malik Harrison spot, that is such an opportunistic spot for a linebacker really to make an impact. If it's Baron Browning, he'll be huge. If it's Pete Werner, he'll be huge. Nathan, Stephen, Doug, read us at cleveland.com/OSU. Try the Text 14-day free trial. Make sure you're watching our videos and listening to Buckeye Talk every Wednesday, wherever you find your favorite podcast.